What's up, fam? Today, I don't even have an intro with you, to be honest. Honestly, like heart to heart, the biggest question you should be asking yourself when it comes to losing the people in your life that you love. I'm not talking about like friends and family. I'm talking about romantically. Why do you keep running from the very thing that you know your heart is craving the most? Yeah, hold on. Sorry, Naomi was calling me. All right, fam, I need you to focus. In this video, you're going to learn about exactly how to stop walking away from the love your heart desires. You know, that love that your heart is like desperately craving for. Look, I know you're tired of the cycle where you meet someone amazing, things start getting real, and then boom. And me and you both know, we know what you do. I mean, you talk about this all the time. You find reasons to either leave, you find reasons to create distance, you sabotage what could potentially be beautiful because deep down, something inside is screaming danger, I'm guessing. I mean, this happens even when things are looking perfect on the surface. And like, here's what's really messing with your head. If we're being honest, like I know it has your head in a doozy. You actually know when you're in the process of actually doing this. You literally are watching yourself pulling away from somebody that you deeply care about, that if you were being honest, you would probably say you might love. Someone who could be very much show everything you've been looking for. It's wild because like when it all comes said and done, you feel powerless to stop this from happening, to stop from eventually walking away. Well, because of your friend, I care about you and love you. I'm going to tell you there is hope. There are 3 triggers that actually cause all this to continue to happen. But I got to shoot it to you straight. If you don't understand what these triggers are, and more importantly, how to handle them, you're going to keep losing people. That's just me keeping it 100 with you, like forever. And honestly, you know me by now. I'm not talking about surface level stuff here. I'm talking about the deep subconscious patterns you probably never even thought of before. Are literally, as we speak, like running your love life into the ground. And we can't have that happen anymore. Wait, one sec. Yeah. Okay, no problem. All right. Sorry about that, fam. Let's get into it. Now, the first thing that makes you run, what I like to call control panic. This is when someone tries to get too close. Good gosh. And your big, beautiful brain translates this closeness as control. They want to spend more time together, control. They want to know who you are, control. They have an opinion about your choices, control. Your nervous system gets really nervous and goes into full alert mode because deep down, you believe letting someone close to you means losing yourself completely. Like literally to you, it means you're going to get manipulated, be trapped, or turn into someone you don't recognize. And here's where it gets real twisted. People triggering this aren't actually that controlling at all. Unless they were actually that controlling, in that case, let me know the T in the comments. But usually they're just loving you. But your brain can't tell the difference between love and control. And I'm not saying people never try to control in relationships. Ideally, they wouldn't. But you cannot tell the difference between the two and even see them as one. So what happens? You create distance, you start arguments, and you find reasons why they're too needy, too much. In reality, it's anything to get the space back, anything to feel like you can breathe again. Here's how you fix this. And I'm going to need you to listen carefully, like block out all distractions. Listen in. This will save your relationships, whether your current one or your future ones. You need to start communicating your boundaries before you're actually angry. I know you know what I mean. You're good at boundaries when you're pissed off or angry, but I'm going to need you to do that a little bit earlier in the process. So don't wait to communicate boundaries after you're suffocating. Like you honestly need to map out your boundaries in 5 different areas. Time, physical, I think the other one is space, like distance, proximity, space. Let me just map this all out again. Time, physical space, financial decisions, emotional space, and personal freedom. Map out your boundaries in these 5 areas. Like literally, if you need to put me on hold real quick, that's fine. Just don't take too long. Grab your paper, grab your pen, map out these 5 boundaries. Write them down and be very specific. Then, and this is crucial, communicate them when you're calm and connected to your partner. If you're single right now, when you're in that relationship in the future, because I know that's coming for you, communicate them when you're calm and connected. Essentially when you feel safe. But here's what you also need to understand about yourself. I know that you feel like you're a burden when you go ahead and actually state your needs and boundaries. In some kind of weird way, it's almost like you think that you are a burden when you ask for space. You think that you're selfish asking for space. In a weird way, it's almost like you think having boundaries makes you difficult to love. But not to get like super corny, but like you're not a burden. Your needs are definitely not too much. We all have needs. Your boundaries literally don't make you unlovable. They do not make you unlovable at all. Rather, they make you somebody who knows how to maintain their identity while still loving deeply. But not to get all like super negative, I gotta keep it honest with you. Here's the terrifying truth. If you don't learn to set these boundaries, you'll keep running from every person who's trying to essentially love you. That's just me keeping it 100 with you. You'll literally probably spend years wondering why people were always trying to be controlling or why everyone you were dating was too controlling, while really in reality, you probably just never learned how to actually stay present while it's actually protecting your peace. We still friends. It's okay. We're still friends. I'll gladly share some of my cheesecake with you later. We're still friends. All jokes aside, like you really need to make sure that you're working on identifying your boundaries and then enforcing them when you're calm and safe, or else that loneliness that in a weird way you've been trying to avoid by running will sadly become the only thing that you have left. Solving the control panic will help you stay in relationships longer. And in case you already forgot, that was thing number one that you do that triggers you to walk away from love. There's something even deeper that's sabotaging you from receiving the love that you crave. The second thing to make you run, and this one's about to hit you right in the chest, is what I call the trust collapse. Yeah, I know I don't know how to spell that well. This is when your partner does something, could be tiny, and suddenly every alarm bell in your system is going off. They're 5 minutes late coming home. They cheating. They seem a little distant one day. They planning to leave. They have a conversation with someone else that seems a little too friendly. Game over. Can't even draw what game over means to you. It's R-rated. Your brain is constantly scanning that abandonment is coming. And here's the cruel part. You're really good at finding that evidence. So good that you actually create the very abandonment that you're trying to run away from. You pull away first. You build walls. You test them in impossible ways. You become so difficult to love that eventually they leave. Or you blow things up and leave yourself. And then your brain goes and says, see, I told you. Everyone leaves. And I know it feels like I'm inside your head. But don't panic and run. It gets better. But you need to understand what's really happening. Your nervous system never learned that people can stay. Somewhere in your story, you equated love with loss. Let me repeat that. You subconsciously believe love equals loss, and that closeness equals pain. Sorry, I had to get a new paper. Now, you don't rewire all of this by just thinking different thoughts. Rather, you change all this through repetition plus emotion. Every morning when you wake up, every night before you go to bed, I want you to think of specific detailed memories in your life where people were actually trustworthy. As it's repetitive emotion, wires our subconscious and nervous system. So it's also repetitive emotion in the form of specific detailed memories that can also change our subconscious mind and nervous system. Specifically, think through the 7 areas of your life: your family, friendships, community, romantic relationships, God, or even strangers. Think of the 7 areas in these categories where you actually found that people can be trustworthy. They've proven they can be trusted. God's proven he can be trusted. The same thing with your abandonment fear. In specific detailed memories in the 7 areas of life, financial and physical as well. So I guess it's not 7. At specific detailed memories in these areas of life, someone stayed. Specific detailed memory where someone chose you. Someone proved that not everyone leaves. This isn't positive thinking. This is rewiring your nervous system with actual evidence. This is some good ass cheesecake. I wish you could have some. Oh, look. It's like the Oreo deluxe one, the triple Oreo something. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. I better not get this in my teeth. Like, listen in. Bro, if you don't do this work, you'll keep, oh, it's going to get so mad. You'll keep destroying your relationships. And ironically, with people who are probably never planning to leave in the first place. You'll keep creating abandonment, the very abandonment that you're afraid of, until one day you wake up and realize that everyone who tried to stay, you've actually pushed away. And I'm not trying to be harsh, fam. Like, this was like low-key my reality for a season of my life. And obviously, I don't have to tell you that if you keep pushing away people who plan on staying, like that very fear of being alone that you deep down have can eventually become your reality. But we're not going to let that happen. Now, you probably thought this trust issue was probably like your biggest problem, keeping you from love, but your fear of freedom, well, your fear of a lack of freedom is what completely destroys everything. Third thing that makes you want to bolt is what I like to call the freedom bolt. I meant the freedom trap. Happens when the relationship starts to feel like a cage. That loving someone means losing your independence forever. Maybe they want to make future plans with you, and all of a sudden you can't breathe. Maybe they just want more consistency, more presence, partnership. Your entire system screams trap to feel claustrophobic in your own relationship. Start missing your single life. Even if your single life was sad and lonely. Start romanticizing freedom. Even if freedom was just isolation. What you need to understand. These things you're thinking really aren't about the relationship. It's about a core wound in your subconscious mind that says, I am trapped. Somewhere in your story, you learn that being needed equals imprisonment. Solution isn't avoiding relationships. Solution is healing your core wounds. Also honoring your genuine need for freedom. First, you're going to use the same daily practice that I mentioned earlier. This time, you're going to focus on memories where you actually felt free, where you had choices, where you weren't trapped. Build evidence in your nervous system that being loved doesn't mean that you're trapped. And you also want to use that same exercise I mentioned earlier to focus on memories where you're currently, even in the relationship, still free. Second, and this is definitely non-negotiable, you need to intentionally fulfill your major need for freedom. What the heck does that mean? You're probably somebody who has a high need for novelty, which is just a fancy word to say like new things. You probably love adventure. You probably love variety and having different choices and different options. And you definitely have a high need for freedom. What you need to understand is that when our needs go unmet in our life, especially in your case, that need for freedom going unmet, it starts to make you feel restrictive, make you feel trapped, make you feel caged. And when you start to feel that, unfortunately, you start to then associate that to your current relationship, causing you to think your partner is making you feel trapped, your partner's making you feel restricted, when in reality, it's just the lack of balance you currently have in your life. And even, I wouldn't even say like balance, it's not the right way to put it. It's the lack of you intentionally prioritizing your major need for freedom. So plan your solo trips, respectfully. Nothing crazy, nothing wild. Like you shouldn't, like just pick the destination wisely. Don't want to make no partners angry. Maintain your current friendships. Don't just give them up because, you know, you're in a relationship now. So we should stay friends. Keep your hobbies. Don't abandon yourself just to go ahead and try to prove like your love. Because honestly, that may not be love. And then practice those boundaries that we talked about earlier. Because to be honest, like real boundaries aren't walls that keep people out, but they're actually guidelines to help people go ahead and love you better. And here's what will haunt you if you don't face this. You'll keep choosing loneliness over love because loneliness feels safer. And I know it's kind of rude that I said it that way, but it's the truth. You will totally convince yourself that being alone is freedom. And really, that's just kind of like fear wearing a disguise. You'll watch everyone in your life around you begin to build lives with their partners, while you technically, I guess, stay safe in an empty cage, telling yourself you're free while you're dying inside to have the love you've always wanted, dying for someone to love you without trying to own you. Look, I'm not even going to front. That section was kind of heavy, and I know it's probably hitting hard for you right now, but I got to keep it 100 with you. And it's probably hitting because you recognize all these different patterns that we went over inside yourself. You've probably lost people who, wait one sec, keep me propped up, don't go anywhere. You've probably lost people who deep down you probably really loved. And in reality, you're starting to realize that it's actually these triggers that may have caused you to lose these people you love. Or maybe you're in a relationship right now and you're starting to kind of feel these triggers arise within you. You're starting to feel these triggers we've talked about begin to activate. But here's what I want. I would even go as far as to say need. Here's what I need you to understand. Recognizing these patterns we talked about is the first step to breaking them. You absolutely do not need to keep running from love. You don't have to keep sabotaging what could be beautiful. The people who trigger you are not your enemies. And the problem isn't that you're broken beyond repair for love. Or the problem isn't that you're unlovable. The problem is that your nervous system is actually trying to protect you from dangers that are not there anymore. So, bestie, start with these daily practices. Don't procrastinate. Start communicating boundaries before you're angry. Start building evidence that love does not equal control. Closeness doesn't equal abandonment. That partnership doesn't mean imprisonment. I'm sorry, I know I'm a little too close. Your heart actually knows how to love deeply. Your nervous system just needs to learn that it's safe to do so. If this helped you understand yourself better, if this gave you some tools to stop running away from love, best way you can support me is by subscribing to the channel and definitely liking this video. And remember, you absolutely deserve love, but more importantly, love that doesn't feel like it's a threat to your freedom. You really truly deserve somebody who is willing to respect your boundaries and who actively always chooses to stay.